Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io.
And welcome to another episode of the Football Smack Talk Show. I am your host, Ryan.
I'm Eric.
Welcome, everybody, to another Victory Monday. Never get tired of hearing that.
Yeah, don't check your feed. This isn't a rerun. We keep saying it. It's always Victory Monday.
Absolutely. And here at Football Smack Talk, as always, we are brought to you by La Terrain Watches. Going on over to www.la-terrain.com. Use code PSA for site-wide discounts. Get yourself a nice watch or sunglasses or some other accessories that they have because they're awesome. You get a discount for using us. So anyway, we are going to be talking probably a lot about a little nonsense tonight because I got to be honest, there's not a lot that I am really concerned about with this team. I feel like there's not a lot of debate going on right now with this team.
Yeah.
So it's I got to tell you, it's a really good spot to be in right now.
Yeah, it feels weird, doesn't it? Like
unnatural for Eagles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're used to pumping our chest out, but like a lot of times it's kind of unwarranted.
Yes. And this time it is warranted.
It is very warranted.
To be perfectly honest, it's hard not to be biased, but it's, obviously both of us, we do watch ourselves a good amount of football.
Yeah.
And, I can confidently say right now, I think this roster, the way that they are playing right now, is the best team in the NFL right now.
Right. And I mean, you look at this.
I don't feel homerish saying that.
No. And even, just looking at, look, a wise man once said, you are what your record says you are. Our record says we are the best team in football.
Right. That's
So,
absolutely right.
and that wise man was not Rich Kotite, although he did say it. But the original person to say that was Bill Parcells. So we'll give proper credit there. A
Yes.
giant coach at the time.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Giants, what a fantastic game. I know. I feel like every week lately that we go into a game, there's always a little something that
Mhm.
has fans going, oh, well, hey, I don't know. I have a bad feeling. What about Derrick Henry and the run game? Or
Right.
Saquon Barkley and, this, that, and the other. And every single time somebody puts something like that in front of this team, and again, it's obviously not directly into this team, it's us as fans doing it, but
Sure.
every time we have overcome. And, the rush defense lately has been insane. Ever since we shored up our that part of us when Jordan Davis went down, and then we go out and get Sue, and we get Linval Joseph, and listen, it's working. I don't want to say, knocking on wood here, it feels a little eerily like when the 2017 team, when we had some needs, how we addressed them. And they worked really well that season, obviously, as we went on to win the Super Bowl.
Sure.
I'm just saying, so far, the moves we have made during the season, the getting, Gardner Johnson, the getting, Sue and Joseph, these little things are having a big impact on this team and plugging some of the deficiencies, so-called, that this team has. And every time you think, oh boy, the Eagles,
Right.
this other, they go ahead and they figure it out.
And I loved how, like, after the Washington game, there were so many pundits out there trying to say, oh, well, Washington wrote the blueprint on how to beat the Eagles. Really? Okay, just get them to turn the ball over and fluky passion three times or four times. Yeah, you're right. That's a blueprint. That's something that can really, you can game plan that. Like, give me a break.
Right, exactly. It was just, it was just unfortunately a game that just happened. And it's the NFL. Like, any team, doesn't matter if you're the Houston Texans, you can almost beat the
Cowboys.
Man, that would have
been. Where's the knock on them, right? So, like, if that had been the Eagles barely coming from behind to beat the Dallas Cowboys.
It was for the Colts.
Remember when we came from behind to beat the Colts? Oh, look at that. The Eagles stink, man. They barely beat the Colts.
Yeah, they're coming off a loss of Washington. They barely beat the Colts. This team's a fraud.
They can be had.
And then all we did was beat Green Bay. We destroyed Tennessee, and we destroyed the Giants, who, again, started off real hot, have come back down to earth. Still in a playoff spot, though.
Sure.
As is the rest of the NFC East. But yeah, that's unfortunately, I think, something we're going to have to, we have to get used to as Eagles fans, is no matter what the Dallas Cowboys do.
Oh, I know.
It does not matter. They're always going to get talked about. And it's always going to be, people making excuses and saying, well, they need to have, teams like this need to have games where they're in close battles for the playoffs. That'll get them ready for the playoffs. And they came back and they had to have a drive, and they had that drive, and blah, 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 blah. But yeah,
it's funny, when the Eagles did the same damn thing against the Colts, who are a better football team than the
Texans. They sure are. Not by much, but they sure are. You're right. And that's the thing. Last night and all day today, I was working from home, and I had ESPN on, I had NFL Network on, Fox Sports 1. I was flipping channels. Didn't matter what I was watching, Shannon and Skip or Colin Hurd or whoever the other shows were.
Right.
that was the narrative. It was, oh, the Cowboys, did such a great job, blah 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 blah, and
Come from behind win against the
right.
11 Texans.
Then spend a quarter of the time talking about this one game, and about the Eagles game for 30 seconds. Meanwhile, the Eagles dominated.
You don't dominate division opponents like that.
Yeah,
and they dominate
divisional games. No matter what, you can never, ever, ever, ever say, "Oh, well, that one team is definitely beating that one team." It doesn't just happen like that.
Right.
It's always a battle. The rivalry, the history, it always comes into play.
And it's not just the NFC East. Like, even look at Kansas City struggling against Denver. Like, there was another case where Kansas City's better than Denver.
Finally beat Cleveland.
Right.
Oh, hadn't beaten Cleveland in 2 years. Finally beats them. And it's like, well, that's the reason why Cleveland wasn't better than Cincinnati last year, but they beat them twice.
And you always draft to compete against the teams in your division. Like, that's always your number one goal, is to compete against your division, win your division. And so it's always going to be everything.
Playoffs.
Yeah, like, because you win a division, you make the playoffs, no matter what.
Right, and if your divisional opponent has great wide receivers, well, you're going to focus on getting some corners.
Sure.
That's the way it works. And
if they have great pass rushers, you're going to focus on getting offensive linemen to block those pass rushers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's the thing. That's what makes this game. I mean, it was 48-22. They scored a late BS touchdown. And
honestly, at that point, I was just celebrating, hanging out with the family, and it didn't even matter.
Yeah, same. I had some people over. We were having a good time. I got the basement all ready to go. As
nice.
You kind of see behind me, it's maybe one of these days I'll give the people a tour. Actually, I think 97.5 might be having one of those fan cave things. And so I may have to do a little video. Got the poker table set up, got the bar set up. Yeah, we're ready to go. Let's go.
Nice.
But yeah, it was dominating in all facets. They ran the ball well. They passed the ball well. AJ Brown got over 1,000 yards, first time since 2014, Macklin, and also Miles Sanders got over 1,000 yards, first time since Shady in
what year was that? 2013?
14.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Devontae Smith is on pace to get to 1,000 as well. And this team is just playing really well. And the fact of the matter is also you have Miles Sanders 10 or more touchdowns. Jalen Hurts 10 or more touchdowns. AJ Brown 10 or more touchdowns. Like, this offense is doing.
This is video game. This is Madden on rookie mode.
I mean, they've averaged over about 42 points, 41 points over the last 3 games.
Yeah.
Their defense is playing really well, stuffing the run, stuffing some really good running backs over the last 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jonathan Taylor had the most out of all of them, and 84 yards. Everybody else kept under that. You had Derrick Henry at 30 yards. You had Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, I love how that was then the thing. Oh, wow. The Colts ran all over the Eagles. Jonathan Taylor had 84 rushing yards.
Yeah.
Couldn't it just be that Jonathan Taylor's really good?
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor is really good. He led the league in rushing last year,
right.
For a reason. And 84 yards is nothing to scoff at. So the fact of the matter is you also kept Henry and Barkley under 40 yards.
Which is incredible.
Pretty darn good. The two of them are in the top 5 right now in rushing yards for the season. So listen, it's funny because we're so used to trying to have the arguments about this team and certain things and what is Hurts it's going to be the quote. Well, now we're arguing whether or not is Hurts going to be able to actually get this MVP he sure is in the driver's seat right now.
He's right now the odds-on favorite in Vegas.
Yeah,
I'm kind of up on the gambling odds, and
yeah, we all know you are. We all know that. But think about it. The next probably person odds-wise is probably Patty Mahomes.
Yeah.
And that dude just
almost seems like he's in that LeBron James category of you could give it to him every year, but he's got to do something spectacular to get it.
Vic checks in. What's up, Vic? Shut down Derrick Henry for 30 yards exactly.
Right?
Yeah, I mean,
it's stupid good.
You can't undervalue that. And the fact of the matter is, we're getting Jordan Davis back here. Obviously, he's playing a little bit more.
Right.
And you have that rotation with Cox and Hargrave and Sue and Joseph and Davis, and those are just the guys in the middle. Plus, you have Sweat and Brandon Graham, who has 8.5 sacks now. What's his face? Reddick has 10 sacks now. He's the first person in NFL history, by the way, to have sacks 3 consecutive seasons for 3 different teams.
That's fucking awesome,
right? That's hilarious. I love it. So Graham, I sure hope gets to 10 sacks. I think Hargrave might be at 8 as well.
Right.
That'd be nice to have 3. Right now, we have the most sacks in the NFL. Not the Dallas Cowboys.
What? You mean there's something we lead over the Dallas Cowboys?
Well, everybody was making
also the best record, but
everybody was making such a big deal about how the Cowboys, were on pace to break the record, yada yada. Well, they didn't have any sacks yesterday. We had 6. Now we're in the lead.
Yep.
I mean, that certainly could change, obviously, as the season.
Sure,
but still, nobody's talking about that. It's just the bias.
Because we don't have a stupid star on our helmet.
Yeah, it's a national bias. And guess what, folks? It sucks. You just have to get used to it. You can't pay any mind. It's frustrating as fans, sure. But listen, underestimate us. Don't talk about us. Let's keep that vibe going, because I think we strive and we do well in that circumstance.
The theme, and I'm going to say, look, unfortunately, they have a game before we play Dallas on Christmas Eve.
Yes, so
and that's in Chicago. You and I can overlook the game. The players better not.
We can, sure.
Yeah,
we're not, man.
no. Thankfully, they're not counting on us to do a damn thing.
Yes.
But all I'm gonna say is, Dallas Cowboys, when we come there on Christmas Eve, put some damn respect on our name.
I mean, that's the only way it's going to happen nationally.
Yeah.
The only way it's going to happen nationally, if we go in there and we're
going to break something off up there, you know what?
Especially if we smack them around. If we smack them around.
We go down there and push them around the way we pushed around the Giants. We're the Titans.
Right.
Man.
I mean, right now we have a 2-game lead over Dallas, over Minnesota for the number 1 spot. There's 4 games.
Thank you, Detroit.
Yeah, right. And so it's a 2-game lead, but we've beaten both of them. So really, it's a 3-game lead. Obviously, the Dallas game will determine some of that.
It's all going to come down to, if we beat the Cowboys, we're going to win the division.
Right.
Now, theoretically, we could lose to them and still win the division. If we win, it's over.
Well, so they play Jacksonville, who, by the way, is
no pushover.
No pushover. They did pretty darn good today, scoring 38 points. Trevor Lawrence looked great.
If the Cowboys played the way they did on Sunday against Houston, they will lose to Jacksonville.
They will lose, absolutely. I will guarantee that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so even if we both win and we go into this game, we're up 2 with 3 to play, and we have the tiebreaker. Say we lose, right? Mm-hmm. And we're up 1. Tiebreaker is out of the equation. What's the next thing? It goes to divisional.
So divisional record, and well, even then they need us to lose to fall into that tiebreaker, and I think we'd have to lose that last game to the Giants.
Yeah, we'd have to,
like if we lost to the Saints but beat the Giants, we'd still have the tiebreaker, I think.
Yeah, because we would have two.
Well, we had 2 divisional losses. I think they only had the one to the Eagles, so maybe they would still have the.
Yeah, I'd have to look that out. Yeah, let's see. NFC East standings. Yeah, I'm curious. Well, who they lost to? The what? Green Bay Packers.
Yeah,
they lost to us.
Mm-hmm.
And who else did they lose to? They're 3-1 in the division right now, same as us.
Right.
So they would have to lose another divisional game.
Which they play Washington last week of the season, which Washington could be fighting for a playoff spot too.
I mean, right now, all 4 teams are in if the season ends today. And of course, if the season were to end today, we'd also have the 5th overall pick, which is
that's awesome.
I never get tired of looking at that. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, obviously and
I want it to be like number 1 or 2 or 3. Well, that's not gonna be 1. Houston's gonna have the number 1 pick.
Yeah, I mean, there's no.
I don't even know if it's mathematically possible for the Saints to catch them in that.
No, because Saints are what 4-9.
Right.
Yeah, it would take a freaking miracle. But yeah, unfortunately, Chicago, who has the 2nd overall pick, we obviously hope they lose next week.
Right. Yeah, and then win out.
Yeah. I don't even know if they can catch, but we need the Rams. We really were hoping Denver could pull off that miracle against Kansas City.
I was hoping. Yeah.
Honestly, that's what we need to really hope for: is Denver to win out, Rams to win out, and like Carolina, Jacksonville, Arizona get a couple of wins.
And the Rams play. I know was it the Packers next Monday?
Yes.
So that could be a win for the Rams.
It could be. I mean, listen, Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Baker
Mayfield last week coming from behind, getting a nice dub.
Baker Magic. Absolutely love it. I'm not gonna lie. I would love to see it again. But
yeah.
So let's talk about some injuries here.
Okay.
Obviously, Avonte Maddox came back. Didn't look the greatest, but again, his first game back, he's kind of had an injury riddle.
Right, he was knocking the rust off. Yeah,
some rust off. But it is good to have him, especially with Gardner Johnson being out currently. Looks like this next game, we should be getting Dallas back.
And that would be huge. I would really wanted Goddard to get 1 game in him before we get to Dallas. Yeah.
Right. Even if it's in limited capacity.
Sure. Even if he plays like 3 snaps, I don't care. Like, just get him out there, get the legs loose, and yeah.
So he would be eligible to come off of IR this week.
Right.
So we will see his status as the Eagles go through their practices this week. I would assume it's going to kind of be a similar thing to Jordan Davis and Avonte.
Count, yeah.
Did practices and seemed limited reps throughout. So there's that. CD Gardner Johnson, I don't think. I think he unfortunately is going to be back for the Saints.
Yeah.
Which, would be kind of nice for him.
Yeah, it'll be a great revenge game for him, but I really wish he was going to be back for Dallas.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That would be nice. Who, by the way, signed T.Y. Hilton today.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah, good job. Also, our punter, Sipos, is hurt. He is out indefinitely, as they are saying.
Yeah.
Looks like we have, I don't know if we have officially signed, but I know he was in for a visit. Brett Kern, former 3-time
three-time All-Pro, yeah.
Was with Tennessee, right?
Yeah, and they brought somebody in, I know, just to try and compete with him, and I think they thought they could save a couple dollars by the other guy. And so that's why Kearns became available.
Oh, there you go. We'll take that. And then also former Eagle, former Denver Bronco, who just recently got released, Anthony Harris, was in for a visit
Oh, hey.
with the injury to Blankenship,
Yeah.
who it doesn't appear that he's going to be on IR, so he has avoided that, but it does look like he's probably going to miss a couple of games. That'd be nice if he would be back for Dallas, but it's probably looking unlikely. He'll probably miss, maybe 2-3 games here. They are not putting him on IR, it appears. So that, to me, just tells me
that's good news.
Maximum you're missing 3 games, right?
Right. Yeah, because if you're going to miss any more, they might as well put you on IR. Yeah.
Exactly. So, and then Lane Johnson also day to day. He went out yesterday, but appears he avoided any major injury and should be fine for this upcoming game.
Yeah. Aren't we all day to day?
I mean, shit, I'm hour to hour.
Right.
Oh, man, yeah. As soon as you get over 40, jeez.
Yo, let me tell you. It aches in places I didn't know I had places.
Right. So, yeah, so that's the general injury consensus for the Birds. Not terrible, honestly. I think
especially in December, like that's really good.
Especially playing up there on the turf at MetLife, with that stadium, it's known for swallowing up guys. So I'm glad.
Every time we play the Giants, there's always some weird special teams play. But that drop kick punt, and then Sippus dropping the punt and then taking off and running with it, and that's what gets him hurt. Is that play?
Well, yeah, and he got hit after the play, which I'm shocked they didn't call that, because
it should have been a late hit. Yeah,
late hit. Usually they're pretty protective of the kickers and the punters as well as the quarterbacks. So
right, because they're not really people. I mean, come on.
Yeah, exactly. So I would have thought that they clearly would have called something there, but they obviously didn't. And you almost got that first down.
Yeah, everybody got a kick out of that at the house when he ran out of bounds. I'm like, look, throw the flag. Come on. He's not even really a person. Come on.
And apparently some Giants fans were giving him shit as he was getting carted off, and he basically told them to go F themselves on his way out. Nice. There's an excellent video of him mouthing, like, go F yourself, you piece of shit.
Nice. That's awesome.
I love that. So, like I said,
it's a very Philly thing to do.
Right? I feel like, it's a great time right now. We just got to keep riding this wave, this train. And listen, I think the only thing that is really a discussion right now is, where are your expectations? Coming into this season, obviously our expectations was, we should compete for the division.
Right.
Worst case, I think we should still make a wild card and make the playoffs. 9 wins, would be great. Obviously, we already surpassed that and have 12 wins somehow. I
already got paid for taking the over of 9.5 on wins for the Eagles.
Same. I slammed that one.
Yeah, we did.
I'm glad that one's going to pay out nicely. But what are your expectations right now? What obviously things have changed, as we are now a 12 football team. But is it Super Bowl or bust? Like, what is it? What's your expectation?
Honestly, look, expectations always adjust in season. Like, everybody always says, "Oh, well, at the beginning of the year, you didn't say it." Well, yeah, because I didn't have all the information yet.
Right.
But yes, the expectation right now is you. I said earlier on, you are what your record says you are, and your record says you're the best team in football. Well, the best team in football better be playing for a championship.
Okay.
So that's my expectations now. And look, they might. If they go to the Super Bowl and they lose like a hardball game to the Bills or the Chiefs, like, I can live with that. I think the one scenario that I don't know that I could process would be, we win the division, we're the number 1 seed, and the way it looks like it would play out would be the Bucs would be the 4 seed hosting Dallas, and Dallas beats Tampa, comes here in the divisional round, And the one scenario I don't think I could live with. Any other scenario, I feel like I could make peace with, basically because of 2017. Like, yes, I'd be disappointed, but I feel like I could make peace with it.
Is that so? Okay, so Vic here. Vic coming again. Win 3 out of the next 4 games and stupidly lose to the Bears.
Don't put that negativity in your during the week.
Come on, Vic.
Not during the week. Afterward, or like if last week you say that, Vic, I'm okay with it. Not during the week we're playing the Bears.
We can't say to lose to the Saints because every loss they have is better for us. So.
Right.
Listen, these next.
Hey, look, if we're gonna lose one, I'd rather it be a throwaway game end of the year to the Giants, and we're basically just down there for a 3-hour pep rally.
Right. Yes, that is the game that I am more than fine with losing. Yeah. 15-2, winning the number 1 seed, getting that bye. So again, with the playoffs, it's the 1 seed has the bye,
right,
and 2 through 6. Play 7. Sorry, play through the wild card round. Right. So it's 2 versus 7, 3 versus 6, 4 versus 5.
Right. In that scenario, 5 is the only one I had upsetting the 4.
Yeah. So now it doesn't. Does it reseed?
Yes,
still?
We reseed every round. So the Eagles will play the worst
team. So okay. So we basically would love it if one of the wildcard teams were to beat one of the divisional winners, a.k.a. anybody but Dallas.
Right.
Yeah. Listen, Dallas is a good team. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. I'm not going to say
I'm not scared of them either.
But Dallas is a great team. I think they are a little inconsistent, but they have the ability to put up points, and I just think we personally match up really well with them.
I do too. And I will say this about the Dallas Cowboys now to make sure I get it in case next week I forget to say it. Dallas, you're not special.
No.
You're not special.
No. San Fran, another hot team, just lost their quarterback, but that didn't really seem to matter as Shanahan certainly has a system down there. Brock Purdy put a hurt on Tom Brady, who, by the way, Purdy was 3.5 months old when Tom Brady was drafted. Gotta love that. Gotta love that.
That's incredible.
I know. But they also did just lose Deebo Samuel.
That hurts more than losing Garoppolo.
And we'll see how long he's going to be out. It looks like it might be a high ankle sprain. That could be 4 to 6.
Honestly, though, if it's a high ankle sprain, that's probably better news than what I thought when I saw it.
Right? Yeah. Especially the way he reacted and got carted off. Yeah. So, listen, he may be ready for the playoffs. That would be fine for them. And even Jimmy G could be theoretically ready at some point in the playoffs, depending, how far they make it. But it looks like
I think you'd rather have Deebo than Jimmy. Like if you had your choice.
Oh, well, sure. Yeah. Because, again, I feel like Garoppolo's a decent quarterback, but I feel like it's the system that's really working for San Francisco. So, so that's the other team. I feel like, all right, there's 2 other teams that I feel like might, compete for the NFC and for the Super Bowl. Minnesota, no, you're not it. We already beat you.
What I just said about Dallas.
Right. We already beat you. You have been looking terrible lately. You literally have Justin Jefferson, and that's it. Kirk Cousins, can put up 400 yards, but you're still going to lose to the Lions. Like, okay,
right.
Yeah, good on you. So definitely not worried about Tampa Bay. They look awful.
No, they don't look like they're winning that division. Like I wouldn't be surprised to see Atlanta or Carolina catch them.
Well, the problem is nobody in that division wants to win it. Atlanta is starting their rookie quarterback Ritter. Carolina is playing Sam Darnold right now, although they did win, and we do need them to win. And New Orleans, New Orleans looks confused.
That division's got to be worth $20. You got 9 friends. We could go out there. We could try to win it.
I mean, we might be able to. Honestly, it's not a great division. So, listen, at this point, I would love for Atlanta to somehow sneak in there.
That'd be hilarious.
The playoff. Tom Brady.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, you can never, rule out Tom Brady when it comes to the playoffs.
That's the thing. Like, no matter how bad Tampa looks right now, if they sneak into the playoffs, if they were to beat Dallas, again, assuming that's the matchup in the wild card round, Tampa and Dallas. Like, if they beat Dallas, that's great for us that they eliminate the Cowboys. But then all of a sudden, it's like you give a little momentum behind Tom Brady, and that could do some weird things.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd be more scared of them with Tom Brady catching fire than I would of Dallas.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yep.
I said what I said.
What?
So I mean that's right now. It's obviously us. It's the Vikings in the number 2 spot, San Fran at 3, Tampa in the 4, Dallas at 5.
Washington,
sure.
Then New York,
and then New York. I think it is. But you also have Seattle right there, who's 7-6. Washington and New York are 7-5-1.
Right. Then Seattle, and then Detroit.
Detroit, who has 6 wins somehow. They have won 5 of them.
They were 1-6.
They were 1-6. They won 5 out of their last 6.
Mm-hmm.
They are playing some inspired ball for Dan Campbell. And listen,
they're biting some kneecaps.
They are. Honestly, if they somehow sneak in, they might be one of
those scary teams. Absolutely. I wouldn't want to have to play them.
Think about it. If they sneak in at the 7, they would play Minnesota. They've already
beat Minnesota. You want to tell them that they can't come here and win?
Right.
I don't want to tell them that.
Yeah. I mean, listen, that would be kind of a scary ordeal. That'd
be so Philly for that to happen, though.
I know, right? But we're not going to think like that.
No. Positive thoughts. Positive
thoughts lead to
the only thing that makes me think that won't happen, Jalen Hurts. I just don't think he'll let that happen.
I mean, did you see that video of Hurts, A.J. Brown, and I think it was Watkins? And A.J. Brown and Watkins are just hooting and hollering, having a great time, their ass off. Somebody.
You just want somebody shot Jalen's dog, looking at him.
The laser focus on that kid. I mean, he was not paying it any mind. He just was like, I know exactly what I need to do. He was probably honestly, he was probably in his head like, I could have done that better. I could have done that better. Time I see that, I'll know this. They've been, shading the safeties, blah, 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 whatever.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he had all this in his head, probably like, oh, man, I missed this guy. This guy was wide open. This throw, man, if he breaks differently and I could have gotten that picked off. That was a dumb throw of my, like that 4th down play to Devontae Smith. If that defensive back times that jump better, that could have been a pick. But I mean, we get a nice play. Devontae makes a great catch, and I'm sure though, but that's Jalen's thought process. The way he's so meticulous about the game. He was probably thinking something like that. Like, oh man, I was so fortunate that ball didn't get picked off, and then
I mean, he has been. I mean, I can't tell you how many arguments, debates, whatever we have had with not only between
with each other,
with friends, whatever, random people. I always love the people that, obviously I usually wear a lot of Eagles stuff, so I get the people that will come up and be like, oh hey, blah blah blah, what do you think of this? Or people that find out that we do a show.
Yeah.
And then it's the instant, I have to.
Oh, I get it every day at work. Yeah.
I have to show you that I know what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna give you some of my opinions here. So I get into these, arguments or whatever. And over the last year about Hurts for sure has been the major. Sure. And listen, I will fully admit, and I think you will too, that we were both very much on the fence on Hurts. We thought
Yeah.
that it
Fair.
looks like he has the skills and the abilities. He needs to be more consistent. He needs things to, he has things to work on: the
Mhm.
accuracy, the arm strength, the check down. Reading his
Yeah, working through his progressions. Yeah.
progressions. Thank you.
Mhm.
And and honestly, I think the best thing that he has done and improved this year hasn't been those things that we've been wanting him to do. It hasn't been the going through the progressions. It hasn't been, reading the defenses. It hasn't been the accuracy, the arm strength, or whatever. Honestly, I think the thing that he has worked on, and it's not even necessarily something that traditionally you work on. It's just
Right.
something there, and it has been his leadership and what that means to this team, and that the fact of the matter is he is taking this team on his back. He is leading by example, and he has that group of 53 all behind him and ready to run through a wall every single week. And that clearly shows. And it shows from the coaches the trust, and it shows from the players the trust that they have in this quarterback to do what's necessary to get wins and do his job. And you can see that they are all falling in line. And from vets to rookies to does not matter. That, I think, has been his greatest improvement, his greatest strength this year, is he is fortifying this team. And there is such a power when you have a team that is all on the same page, that is feeling it, that knows exactly what their individual jobs, but knows what their job is as a team every
Right.
single day, every single game, every single week. And that, I think, is the reason why Philadelphia Eagles have been able to do what they've been able to do this year, is because they are following Jalen Hurts, and he is leading the way. And that is what he has improved on the most this offseason, this whole season from last year to
Mhm.
this year. And I think a lot of last year helped because there were a lot of times where they struggled. And I think that helped fortify a lot of people on this team. And it really just ran right in to this season. And that's the reason where we are today.
Well, right. And if you go back and look at like how did we start this part of the conversation? It was, talking about like how silly would it be with Eagles, it'd be very Philly like for like the Eagles to do all this and then Detroit gets hot and comes in and beats them. And what did we immediately say though? I don't think Jalen Hurts will let that happen.
Right.
And
I mean,
like
we
it's just a feeling. You see it, and like if you look back at what this guy's been through, like these are everything you mentioned, like that can't be measured in a weight room. That can't be measured in stats. That's just it's something that is just forged through experience. And think about what this man has been through, being benched in a national championship game after being a finalist for the Heisman Trophy,
yeah,
and then going through the transfer portal and knowing, hey, look, he could have transferred anywhere and just stayed under the radar and probably been a top, like, he probably would have been picked around where he was picked anyway. But he went somewhere because he went to Oklahoma because he wanted to compete. He wanted to win.
right.
This man, his only addiction is competition. And like he loves competing. When he was drafted here, look, a lot of guys would have probably been like, "Oh man, I got drafted. Yeah, great second round, but like I got drafted to Philly, where I'm going to sit behind Carson Wentz, who's their guy." And
Right.
you figure that there's no way Carson's going anywhere. And
Right.
then fast forward a year, and
He clearly has this, as you said, it's
he's
very
get
stoic,
factor.
but it,
Yeah,
yeah, he has this quiet, just ability to focus on what he needs to do. And he came in and he could have easily complained. He could have easily, been a little punk about, the fact that,
sure.
he stuck
And
by.
especially when the team was struggling, we heard all the talk about, oh, Carson Wentz isn't happy. Carson and Doug aren't talking. What we never heard was Jalen Hurts was chirping. Jalen was saying he should be in there.
Yeah.
Jalen didn't say a thing. It's just when his number got called, he went out there and performed.
Right. Vic here. Thank God we didn't bet the farm on Deshaun Watson this past season or Russell Wilson.
Right.
A couple. And yeah, listen, Howie knew what he was doing. Howie believed in Hurts, and this team believes in Hurts, and Sirianni believes in Hurts. Honestly, I would not be surprised. Things keep going the way they're going. Hurts MVP, Nick Coach of the Year, Howie Executive of the Year.
And wouldn't it be something if Howie Roseman was like this maestro? Maybe like we talk about they were in on talking about going after Deshaun Watson. They were in on Russell Wilson.
But I feel like
some of that has been just to be the great maestro, to play some games with Jalen, to add that extra motivation, the whole rents due every day, make sure he keeps that chip on his shoulder and keeps working, keeps grinding. Yeah. And I don't really think he even needed it because that's just the kind of guy he is.
No, but listen, Howie, I feel like Howie's in on everybody.
Yeah.
Like if there's somebody to be had, listen.
He kind of reminds me of the way you would be as a GM, because knowing the way you are as in fantasy football.
The way I am as a fantasy owner, I don't care if I have the best player in the league. If I can get a trade and that'll improve my team, I'm going to look into it.
Absolutely, as you should.
I feel like the people who do fantasy that they'll get I have Christian McCaffrey, I'm never going to trade him. Why wouldn't you? If somebody's going to give you way more value than what he's worth,
right?
The overall team. That's the way I feel like Howie kind of is with being a GM. Hey, listen, I have great players. I have an awesome starter in this position. But if I can somehow get better as a team, I can get a comparable replacement for this player and maybe a player somewhere else or a draft pick here or there, I'm going to look into that. And he does, and he pulls.
And Howie's gotten so good at playing the long game in this. Like, think about this. We are right now in position to. Like, the Eagles are you said you are what your record says you are. You're the best team in football.
Yeah, and but they're set up. I mean, they have probably 5 or 6 million in cap space. Not that much. They have a lot of people coming off of expiring contracts. They'll be able to re-sign a good amount of these guys.
Right.
They also have 2 first-round picks, one potentially a top 5, maybe top 10 by the time this thing ends up.
Keep losing.
Plus, we have next year an extra second from again. So, we have all this draft capital. We have a good amount of expiring contracts, which some are good in a way, because I feel like we can get a lot younger. In positions, I really hope that we're able to kind of re-sign, a lot of these guys. The T.J. Edwards, Gardner Johnson, again,
Bradbury,
Bradbury. There's questions about, Brandon Graham, questions about Fletcher Cox, what to do, with Hargrave, again, I think. It's going to be very different, especially if we end up winning the Super Bowl.
That always adds the value to every player that's involved in the Super Bowl.
But also, I feel like with really good teams, sometimes that you have that extra value, but then sometimes you have the players that are like, I just want to win another one. I'll sign for a few $1 million less if it helps to re-sign the rest of the guys. We'll have teams that do that. So
just 2 years ago, Tampa Bay ran it all back. All 22 starters came back. And, with a lot of guys who were not under contract for the next year, they were able to get everybody signed and brought everybody back for another run at it. And if not for maybe the greatest postseason a quarterback's ever had, Matt Stafford, the Buccaneers could have been right back there playing for another world championship.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So. Real quick, I did want to obviously mention as the scroller down there that we are now a part of Six Pack Coverage. These guys are absolutely awesome. Based in Tennessee, they got plenty of podcasts about sports nationally. But they also have this like college network. So they have like teams at major colleges that are putting out great content. But it's not just sports. It's not just podcasts. They have lifestyle, fitness, travel, food, basically a little something for everybody. So if you head on over to sixpackcoverage.com, not only will you find our shows all from the Philly Sports Alliance, but also from our brother network, CEV. They're all there. But, again, all these great shows and articles and other great stuff. So check them out, sixpackcoverage.com. And honestly, the best thing to do is follow them on Instagram. Their Instagram is absolutely hilarious. So check that out. Check us on all of their socials as well. Also, if you are not following us on Facebook, that is the easiest place to follow us. Give us the like, give us the follow, put on your automatic notifications so that not only will you catch every one of our shows when we go live, but we're also streaming all of the Painted Line shows. We partnered up with them. So all of their shows stream on our Facebook. All of our shows stream on their YouTube. So please make sure you support both. We're all just, Philly content, Philly sports content makers, just trying to put out some good shows for you guys. So we do appreciate all the love, the support. You can see all across up here, all of the places you can find us, anywhere where you can get a podcast as well. So appreciate Vic for chiming in for a few comments tonight. I haven't talked to you in a while, buddy. We should get together. But anyway, that is going to be it for us. We will talk to you guys next week. Make sure, again, you're following. That way you know all of the shows coming through Philly Sports Alliance throughout the week. But we will come at you next Monday. Hopefully another Victory Monday against the Chicago Bears.
I've gotten used to these Victory Mondays.
Really, but I will also see you tomorrow at the Philly broadcast at 7 and the Birds of the Roundtable at 8. You will see Eric again on Thursday.
Wednesday. Well, we moved the TLC podcast to Wednesdays.
Oh, thanks for telling me.
Yeah. So this is me telling you now, but but I believe I think I'm scheduled to be a part of the Birds of the Roundtable tomorrow.
Oh, okay, cool.
So, well, I know you mentioned it to me before, but yeah,
no, it works.
I'm going to be part of it.
Yeah, it works for me. But yeah, thank you again for all the love and support. Please make sure you go to sixpackcoverage.com. Please make sure you go to la-terrain.com. Use code PSA for site-wide discounts. They have just insane watches for pretty darn cheap. Get yourself or someone special a watch for Christmas. All right, Eric, anything to add before we pop on out of here?
Nah.
All right, got to keep the streak alive. All right, folks. Well, thank you very much for joining us. We will see you guys next week. And as always, go Birds.
Go Birds.
Music licensing reimagined.